came in, played quite a bit as a freshman during the COVID season, and had some quality snaps last year, things like that. But boy, he's gotten bigger, stronger, and faster, and you're seeing that. So with him developing, now you've got a lot of competition in that room, and it's getting everybody better. But that's one I really, through this, I wanted to point him out. You know, he's done a real nice job. He's pushing everybody else. So that's kind of that lost guy. Everybody who's asking, where's Brandon Frazier? Brandon Frazier's bigger. And so he's done a nice job. How can we get on the field? We get them all on the field at the same time. We can. I mean, that's and that just kind of tells about the athletic ability of the room as well.
You were talking about with Micah, playing guys split out. You get dudes from high school, tight ends are usually guys playing more receiver.
Sure.
You guys use them a lot, in line, blocking, all that. What's that process like teaching some of these high school kids who might not have had as much blocking experience to come in and play the system?
One, I just want to see him stick their face in. And I know that may seem weird, but if you're willing and you want to be physical and you want to be dominant, we can get there. If you're shy, if you're like, we got an issue, right? But that's also me through the recruiting process and understanding of this is your role. This is where I'm going to recruit you. This is where I think you can be very successful here at Auburn. And I started with that, with Micah through the process. I wasn't going to tell Micah that, I'm going to split you out, you're going to be good, and all of a sudden you get here, and, oh no, I want you to go hit Derek Hall for 17 seconds. That's not fair, right? And so I think that he can get mentally prepared as he's coming into college. And then it's just the footwork, the hand placement, things like that. That's just going to take continual reps. And he shows signs of it, it's just not consistent. And going into practice 8, nor should it be consistent. We're sitting there practice 8 on a young man that should be getting ready for prom. So he's doing a great job.
Did you see kind of the same thing with Landon last year? As a
little bit different. The two is that Mike moved 6'5", 246 pounds, 207 pounds. Landon came in at about 214 to 217. So there's a different body type right there.
Do you have in versatility? Like you talked about, depending on the defense you face.
Sure.
Do you have blockers and pass catchers? Everybody you need?
No. Well, I mean, ideally, do you?
Yeah.
I would say, but with that becomes tendencies, and so it's our goal to everybody's got to know everything, right? Because everybody's dream is playing the National Football League. You're gonna play the National Football League, you got to be a tight end that's gonna stay on the field. And that's one thing that we do here is look at Shank last year. Shank can do everything, right? Fromm's come a long way, and he played in line, he played out, he played everything last year. And so, with that, they got to know everything if they want to play in National Football League. And so you got to teach them everything and develop them that way. And that's one thing that we're getting in the room. And I'll go back, like what you guys asked, is experience helps that a lot. And the fun thing is Shank's senior. I'm going to get the rest of these guys for 2 more years, which is makes me look better.
We were talking to Coach Keesaw, and he said that it really just systematically is not very different from last year's offense. Has that been y'all's experience in the tight end room so far in terms of like usage, guys you got on the field? Does it really feel pretty much the same?
Yeah, it does. It does. It does feel the same. And that's the other thing is, when you got smart guys, it's just another year. That's the nice thing about you change schemes and you change offenses so much. It's like you start from square one all the time. And you can't do that for the development and want to win football games. And so, yes, it's a lot the same with the tight end room especially.
Are you the envy of the other position coaches because you got talent, you got experience, it seems like your room is pretty loaded, right?
It is. I don't know if it's that. I think everybody's just trying to get the room better. I mean, there's one thing. We're saying we got a lot of experience, but there's a lot of things we got to improve on. We had a couple drops for LSU. That's not acceptable. And so, I want to pat him on the back, guys, but also we're not there yet. And that's the other thing about development is that now we get to move on to those things faster than last year. And so that's what's also exciting. And in the overall development of getting, the Shankers who is going to get his doctorate, it seems like, by the time he gets out of here. But those little things in his game that we got to develop to get him to that next level. And that's the fun thing about it. Now we're not out here. We're closing this thing down, and this is the difference between getting over versus that safety and not. And the overall development of him and in the room is where we're at.
I guess with Shank, how much of a difference has it made with the passing game? With TJ and him, obviously they hooked up a lot last season. What kind of a difference does it make to have? Because, like you said, some of the receivers are not here.
It's another weapon.
Yeah,
it's another weapon to get on the ball, right? And he's reliable, and so I think that helps. I think also helps that, the other thing is when we got here, the tight ends were thrown to a lot. Well, now if you look at our tight ends, we're thrown to last year, so now how are they going to defend them? So we got to look at that, and that's where the Shank and the little things is this much of development and getting them open, where it's going to be maybe a little bit different coverage towards us coming year, and that yet to be determined, right? But that's got to be on our mind too.
How much did y'all experience that maybe over the course of last season? People
later in the year than earlier.
Yeah.
Later in the year than earlier.
Yeah.
Especially, I would say the last 4 maybe. But it was good. But the production stayed there. That's what's nice. Production stayed there. So that's where we got to continue to concentrate on.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Was that your first season to coach tight ends?
I did through quality control at Baylor.
Okay. So on the field, how was that for you?
Awesome. You're always involved a little bit just in the run game and protections as the O-line coach. But all offensive wide, it was my first year. It took a lot of studying, took a lot of work. But it's a challenge that I'm very grateful to have, very grateful to be at Auburn. To be in this position to coach this group, I don't take it for granted any day that I get to work with these kids. And when I say these kids, the Shanks, the Mike O'Reillys, and everybody in between. It's unbelievable. I get to come to work here and work with those kids and with the staff. And that's the one thing about it is we're growing every day. And if I can get them better a little bit every day, we'll be where I want to be.
Did we see you one day during a drill getting airborne?
In camp, you got to show them how to do it.
Is that something you have to do as an O-line coach, or was that new for you?
No, that drill. No. If no lineman's doing that, we got an issue. No, usually I like to have fun with them because they're like, "Oh, you're just no line coach." I was like, "I'm a pretty athletic O-line guy." I'm just at that point you need to have fun with them too, right? But that's what I was doing then in fall camp. I want to race a few of them. I think I can beat them. Not trying.
What do you think from Luke, his development, especially the receiving weapon? We saw him a little bit more last season.
Sure.
The guy who can go out there and get some big catches for y'all.
Yeah, that developing in his hands. He's caught a lot of balls, to get where we're at, right? And so that's been a big emphasis when we got here. As if you think you're catching 10 balls, you got to catch 50, just to be a natural, ball catcher. And so that's one thing in his development that we've seen, and it's continuing. But yeah, he's doing great. He's doing great. Big physical kid too.
When we saw him and play fullback, kind of when you guys I formation sometimes. What was that like, seeing those guys kind of play good back there in the back?
Fun.
A little bit?
Well, first of all, it's like we're gonna do what? But it's fun. They bought it, right? They buy in, and Shank did a lot of that last year for us. Luke's doing quite a bit for us, and there's others that are doing it. So it's formationally what we can do. But it's fun. It's fun. They enjoy it. It's just another thing we can do.
Shanker got a carry on the tight end around.
Yeah, he did.
He did. I think it went versus Houston. It went for 4. Luke Deal needed to get better leverage. Would have been better.
I imagine that's part of the, be able to do everything.
Yeah, it's the fun part of the game.
Yeah.
It's just the fun part of the game.
Eric was talking to us last week about y'all. I know y'all look at NFL tape for every position, but mainly he said for tank, trying to optimize. Obviously, y'all are still the downhill run game. Just kind of what does that process look like when y'all get together as a staff? Maybe look at tape from NFL or somebody else and try to apply it to what y'all do. What is that process like with the staff?
Well, I mean, it's everybody's kind of responsible in their own area, right? And so Coach Cadillac does a great job with it. Kids need to see other than themselves, right? I mean, and then you take the people who are doing it great, and then don't shy. If that's where you want to be, this is where it's going to take to get there. And then visualizing it and seeing it and things like that can help that development. It's the same thing with getting in at a breaks and tight end, using your body, using your length, blocking, things like that. We just try to develop them other than just say, hey, here's the same block. You've seen it 14 times. Well, you're still young men that have the attention span of a gnat, some of them. And so how are we going to get – this is what you want to do, so let's take the top 10 tight ends that are rated, whoever rates them, I don't know, and break them down. And then now from there, okay, here we go. Here's what we do. And then you talk about each player of, okay, he's getting out of his race, man. Okay, you have to look at this. And so that's the one thing about overall development and getting them prepared is that. And have them study the best.
Any specific tight ends you guys point to or anybody who pops up frequently?
Quite a few. I'm going to tell you. It would give away some things.
Brad, you're the only guy on this offensive staff who's worked with Larson and Keesaw in the same offense before. You guys were at Boise.
Yeah, you're right.
I guess what was that experience like then, and does it kind of feel the same now that kind of that brain trust is back together, so to speak?
Does it feel? Yeah, it does feel the same in regards of. I know how Coach Harson wants things and things like that, and working with Coach Keesaw, I understand kind of the way he thinks and things like that. So it does help. Having things prepared, if that makes sense, and how he's going to call plays or how he's going to install plays and the process of everything, and that's the main thing that helps. And then me, or Coach Friend will ask me, or I'll go to Coach Friend and things like that. That does help quite a bit. There's not a feel out. There's nothing. It's like, this is what we're doing. Here we go. Let's go rock and roll. And these are the expectations of the room. This is how I want it. And this is the way it's going to be. So that does help. It's fun.
Thanks, Brad.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
No problem. You good?
Hey, Brad,
And then trying to put that all together. And then, like he said, with Brandon Frazier and all that, then you start seeing the growth. And now, here we go. Now we'll take off.